Hi, everyone, and welcome. My name is Ellie Huang, for those that don't know me, and I'm a natural health practitioner in traditional Chinese medicine, as well as an NLP health and wellness coach and a beauty therapist. Today, I have the pleasure of interviewing Carmel Catanuto. Carmel is the founder of Carmen Catanuto Psychotherapy and is an experienced therapist who runs a private counselling practice in Newtown and Oatley. She creates a safe place for heart-sick career women who can't see a way out to heal their relationship with themselves as well as their life partner. She helps women feel confident in rediscovering their creativity and aliveness to see a different perspective. Welcome, Carmel.
Hi, Ellie. So lovely to be here with you.
Yes, we've got
Thank you
lots.
very much.
No, that's a pleasure. We've got lots to cover today. So tell me a little bit about your work and what you see as the components of a healthier relationship. As you said as we mentioned in the intro, especially with this year, there've been so many people that have, lost their career or, found it really difficult to get back on track. After COVID, so what can they do for themselves, and how can they have a healthier relationship for themselves?
Yeah, it's such an important time at the moment, Ellie. And yeah, just I guess the relationship with yourself is the utmost important. Having a healthy self means that you can have a healthy relationship. So being loving and nurturing towards ourselves supports us to be in a healthy relationship. Those are really key things. It's like, putting yourself first. And I really love that analogy when in an aeroplane, when the mask comes down, it's putting your mask on first and then supporting others. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I think a lot of people don't put themselves first and they put everyone else before themselves. And then you see that in health as well. People, they put themselves last. They put their children, their husbands, and then they realize they come and see you as the last resort because they've, at wit's end and they're feeling like, they can't go on anymore. So how important is that people, take the time to look after themselves, and what can they do to help themselves get back on track and being the number one in their lives before they help others?
Yeah, so there is that naturalness to put kids and family members and friends and people that you love first. But what happens, that has an effect on your health. And over time, if it's not managed or supported, either through nutrition, through the physical side as well, having adequate exercise, rest, we become run down and it impacts our health. And this also impacts our relationships. And that includes mental health as well. So, I guess, some of the components of a healthy relationship are, things that we hear like honesty, really sharing from the heart how we feel. And um, Ellie, I must admit, I've got my cat who
It's so
is near
cute.
me and he just wants to be near me. So
That's all
he
right.
just, he just walked past. Yeah. Yeah, that's part of life actually. Yeah, so really, telling the truth and, sharing what's on your mind as opposed to keeping it inside, because this can really turn on your health. It eats away at on the inside. Things like having a shared vision, working together with goals that you like to do together,
Mhm.
um, acceptance and having a great sense of humor is also healthy in relationship as well. As you know, it releases endorphins and those emotions like, which is beneficial to health on a physical level.
So
Yeah.
why do you think so many people struggle with their own inner thoughts and, have so much negative thinking patterns? And how can we turn this around so that we have more positive thoughts and, we can be more positive with ourselves and our partners?
Yeah, it's such a good question, isn't it? Look, I think I have a personal theory with that. I, you know, I think thoughts are very powerful, and what we think and how we see ourselves is how we're going to have that kind of experience. So, if we're um, if we're really down and really negative and we ruminate, we will stay in that pattern. and that has an impact on the body. So whether we're aware of it or not, the thoughts actually generate a feeling in our body. So that's why meditation and gratitude is so powerful, and guided visualizations, because we're open and we'll have a thought. So someone may be reading or reciting a guided visualization, and it actually generates a feeling in our body. So that's how powerful it is. But I guess, if we're talking about negative thoughts, that actually can lead to a belief system. So in some ways, it's a good thing to take note of your thoughts, which can lead to a belief about yourself. But then once that belief is in awareness, you can do something about it. So if you have a belief that you're not good enough, and life reinforces that belief, then having that awareness, it's like, yeah, here it is again. I'm in this position of feeling less than. So now I can do something. Um, I can do something about that because it's in my awareness. So what would make me feel that I'm enough? Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's yeah. Yeah.
yeah, for some people, they just have like it feels like they're always dealt the short straw in life, you know. It's like one thing after another, like one struggle after another. How can we pull them out of this sort of perpetual life struggle, and just life in general, where they basically think that, that's life. Some people hear them say, oh well, that's just life. They never see
Mm.
the positive aspects, and they think, oh, I'm meant to go through this, or life is meant to be hard. What do you say to those people?
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of components to that. So if we break it up, we can look at the physical, the mental, we can look at the feelings, and then we can look at the behavior. And I
Mm,
love doing this because sometimes when things happen to us, it happens very quickly, and all of a sudden we're feeling all these things, and we've got a whole bunch of things going on. We're thinking certain things, our bodies are not feeling so good, we're expressing ourselves, we might be upset, and then we might go away and hide. But if you break those components up into, so what am I feeling physically? What am I thinking? What am I saying to myself? And then what am I actually feeling? And then what's my behavior? And if you just change one of those, that will have an impact and make a
mm.
difference.
Wow, yeah,
Yeah?
that's very
Just
profound.
changing one of those. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so, it could be that a behavior change could be, well, I'm feeling down or something's happened to me and I'm upset. I'm going to immerse myself in nature and I'm going to go outside, whereas normally what I would do is isolate myself.
Mm.
So just that is a change.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
nature is amazing for people going through, what they've been through this year. We aren't in nature enough. If you live in, the city, we're surrounded by, the concrete jungle literally, and we don't make that time to go out. And most people who live in apartments, there's no sort of backyard. At least if you live in a house, you can just walk in your backyard, do the laundry and sort of like barefoot. But I think, yeah, nature is one important thing that helps us just feel more connected to Earth and the universe, really.
Oh, 100% agree with you, Ellie. Nature is the biggest natural self-soother that you could get in
Mm.
stress. I mean, what's it like sitting on the sand near the ocean? How beautiful is that? Even just the
Yeah.
thought of that has a feeling in the body. And
Yes.
I was reading your blog, Ellie, about vitamin D and how important is
Yes.
vitamin D in health. So,
Very important.
sitting at the beach for 10 to 15 minutes to get vitamin D as well as mental health.
Yes, and these days, especially with a lot of issues to do with the lung, the vitamin D is actually not a vitamin; it's actually a hormone, and it has so many
Ah.
different processes in the body. And there've been studies that have shown that if you have good amounts of vitamin D, it can really help your immune system and so many other functions. Yeah, in a person. And so many people are vitamin D deficient, but we only need 20 minutes of good sunshine between 10 and 2 to get our
Mm,
dose of vitamin D. And those who are in their office all day, we just basically used
yes.
to go from our house to the office. Now we're just in the house all day, because a lot of us are working from
Yeah.
home. So we aren't getting, a good dose of vitamin D. So yeah, it does cause, and actually has been shown to cause people who are depressed have actually been shown to have low levels of vitamin D. So mood, it helps with
Yes.
mood as well. So it is so important. But going back to what you were saying with like if you've got a partner and sharing your feelings, how can we share our feelings and create a safe place so we can feel, close to someone else? Because these days people are quite alone, and with social distancing and everything else that's going on, if they don't have a partner that's next to them, how can, and for those that do, how can we sort of create that sense of connection with someone else as well as our partners if we have one?
Yeah, it's really I think COVID and this time has been quite a tester in how we are in relationships, and it's been very challenging for people. It's before COVID, it was it, partners were not spending a lot of time together because they're out working and paying for
Hmm.
mortgages, and now there's this forced togetherness and being at home. Yeah, so it has challenges in that. Yeah, look, it's relationships are. I feel that relationships are like gardens. They really need to be nurtured, Ellie. There needs to be. John Bradshaw is famous for this, and he said that what you love is what you give time and attention to.
Yeah.
And giving time and attention to your family and your kids and your partner really helps water the love and the relationship. And you know, I think like all of us, over time we get really busy, and then that starts to slip. But it's really key in having healthy relationships is to, as well as those points like honesty, shared vision, trust, a good sense of humor, and affirming each other. Um, yeah, it's important to um, maintain that and um, nurture that, because it can get lost. And some things could be that could support relationships would be having healthy boundaries. Um, People actually, yeah, maybe I'll go back to vulnerability. It's interesting the thought process around vulnerability. When there's vulnerability and it feels safe to share, it's actually quite powerful
Mm.
because it impacts other people. And what happens in that is the other person says, "Oh, wow, I can actually relate to what you are saying." And there is a connection that's made in vulnerability. It's actually quite a powerful place to be in. And you've heard the quotes from Brene Brown in um, she gets up on stage and is quite vulnerable in sharing more of herself.
Mm.
So there's two parts to being in relationship. I think being able to share your feelings and also being able to put in boundaries. Those two things are really key in healthy relationships, because if when we have boundaries, and there's often a belief that goes with boundaries, people think that, oh, if I have a boundary, they won't love me anymore. But
Mm.
actually, it's the opposite. When you put in a boundary, you show the other person that you've overstepped a value of mine and I'm going to protect myself because I feel hurt. Yeah. And then you
Mm.
actually don't project that hurt onto them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So having clear
Yeah.
boundaries is key. So also both partners should be talking about what their boundaries are, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's simple, it'd be like how you share your feeling would be just naming the behavior that the person's doing, not a character attack. When we're
Mm.
upset, we tend to
Yeah.
go for the character. Oh, you're always like this, and that
Mm.
becomes very confusing for the other person
Mm-hmm.
because you're not naming something. So it's about naming the behavior and then sharing how you feel, and then really speaking up about, because that's happened, I'm going to take care of myself and
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go for a walk, which is putting in a boundary. Self care
Mm.
is
Yeah.
is is, is boundary setting. Yeah.
Yeah, so then you don't let the fire become too big, because it can be like a bit of a verbal attack, and a lot of partners do that, I've done that in the past. We're not perfect, but sometimes when we get
Yeah,
angry,
absolutely.
the first thing we do is start attacking each other and start, and then it gets,
Yeah.
and unless someone walks away or, someone, calms the fire down in that moment, it can become quite heated and then it just gets blown up for over something so small.
Yeah, you get stuck in, you get in an interlock and it
Yeah.
doesn't move. So you need some time out and pause and space, and that allows each of you to reflect. And there needs to be rules in no character attacks, no matter what, no matter how hurt you are. No criticisms, no blame, and no character attacks. That has to be a
Mm.
rule.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're not perfect. It's not about
No.
being perfect. It happens, but it's going back to those, and if you have attacked your partner, as in a character attacked, the repair is just as important too.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
No, that's really great tips. So, any other last minute tips we can take away and how we can have, better intimacy with ourselves and our partners, basically?
Yeah, look, I think for people that are single is really identify three key values that you like in a person.
Mm.
It doesn't necessarily need to be a long list of qualities. It's actually about three values. And don't move away from those values. It could be that kindness is a value that you
Mm-hmm.
have. Um, you know, I guess my three key values are kindness, someone who likes to evolve, and communication. So
Mm.
when you meet someone that has those values, really get to know them and spend time with them. Don't just meet for a coffee. I
Mm.
suggest hanging out with them for the day, yeah, and really
Mm.
sharing it, and give it at least three dates or three meetings,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I guess for couples, something that I really love, it's called eye gazing,
Oh,
and
yeah. Heard of that.
yeah, it's beautiful if you sit opposite each other. Preferably cross-legged and on the floor, close to the earth and the
Mm-hmm.
ground, and just look into each other's eyes. There's no words, and just really notice your body and notice yourself. And yeah, I guess look at your foot. Look up into your third eye. Like keep your
Yeah.
eyes open and look at the person, and do this internally, and then really sink into your heart, and then
Mm.
just notice the qualities about that person, and stay with it. Stay with the process. Yeah,
And
yeah. I think that's quite a beautiful
how
thing to
long would
do.
you suggest couples do that for? And how often to connect?
Well, I think as at least once a week.
Oh,
I think
lovely.
once a week would be lovely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and really stay. If you stay longer with it, notice what happens. And it might be that you get distracted and you might be thinking about something else, but then just come back to the
Yeah.
present moment and look into each other's eyes. I think that's quite a beautiful, intimate way to connect. And
Beautiful.
I have a little guide, Ellie, on my website that you can download
Amazing.
if
I'll
you
put,
want more of the
yeah,
instruction.
we'll put all
Yeah,
those links up after this. But that was so interesting. I think I'll go do
yeah,
that with my husband tonight because we do.
yeah, yeah,
It's like,
absolutely.
I think when you're
Yeah,
living in the same house, we get distracted, especially when there's kids involved. Your whole life almost revolves around the kids, and you don't have that sort of time to really, have that intimate moment with your partners. So I think we do have to almost schedule. We're so busy all the time that we do have to schedule
yeah,
in these times, and these sort of weekend dates, like you said. And if we are in a relationship, like a whole day date would be beautiful to just reconnect, because a lunch or a coffee, it's not really enough. I think we do need to spend like a good
no,
day out in nature and maybe just sit down by the beach and just have a talk or just have a lie down. And yeah,
yeah.
I think that's
Yeah,
a really
I
good
like
idea.
that. Yeah. Yeah, that's really good. I like how you said schedule. If
Yeah, we
if you're busy,
do.
especially as business owners, business owners, it's endless
Yeah.
where you could constantly work,
Oh,
So
yeah.
and if that's how you need to do it, then schedule in that time to do it. Yeah.
That way you know it's in there, and both people know that it's like a meeting. You've got to show up at the time, and that way you have no excuse, I think. So these days we do actually have to schedule in time with our partners, even they're in the same house, but you get so busy and
Yes.
nightfall comes, you're ready for bed. It's like we haven't spent any time together because we can both be so
Oh,
busy on our own business. But it's a great tip. So
yeah.
amazing. Yeah, I think everyone needs to
Yeah. And
reconnect.
I think so. And I think if you're conscious about that, Ellie, I think it's really important. A relationship needs nurturing. You
Yeah.
can't just leave it because over time you do separate and you do, and it drives a wedge in the relationship, but then it's
Mm.
very difficult to repair and to come back. So, yes, yeah, really important.
Yeah. Great,
Yeah.
Carmel. Well, such a lovely chat. And, we've only touched on some surface. I'm sure there's lots of things that we can revisit at a later time. But I'm sure, yeah, some people have taken
Yeah.
some amazing tips. And I'll put all the links to Carmel's details, yeah, where you can find her and yeah, send her a message if you want to get in contact with her. But thanks again so much, Carmel, for your wisdom and sharing those tips and knowledge with us today.
Oh, thank you so much, Ellie, for being here. It's been a lot of fun
Yes.
with the cat walking past and
It's a beautiful cat. Wish I could have
beautiful
something
cat,
like that.
yes.
My kids want a puppy in a couple of years. We'll wait till my daughter's
Oh, do
5.
they?
We'll
Oh,
wait
how
till she's
lovely.
5 because it's a lot of work. She's still a toddler. We'll wait till they're more self-sufficient first.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good idea. Good
Yeah,
parenting, I like
that's
that.
right. That's right. Okay, thank you
Thanks,
all. We'll
Ellie.
see you guys next time. Bye.
Thanks, Ellie.